It's time for an Out and About with Jamie Grout podcast, and this time we'll be talking with Melissa Strovers, who's with Poweshiek County Economic Development. But right now, a word from our sponsors, including Grinnell State Bank, the presenting sponsor for Out and About with Jamie Grout's podcast, with 4 convenient locations, including their Grinnell location, serving the Grinnell area for over 100 years now. They also have a location in Johnston, Marengo, and Polk City. They sponsor this podcast because they want you to know what's going on in Grinnell and Poweshiek County. And if you have not checked out their website yet, you should check that out because they have convenient online and mobile banking at Grinnell State Bank. They have all kinds of options that make banking fit into your life and your lifestyle. You can get started, open your accounts in just 15 minutes. Not sure what you need? Check out Simply Banking and open your accounts online or in person at any of their 4 locations. They have financial advisors, loan officers, and insurance agents working under the same roof. MasterCard debit cards are available and no monthly fees on those debit cards at Grinnell State Bank. Also, B. Nicole Salon. That's a great place to go to get your hair coiffed. I got a haircut there a couple weeks ago and got a couple compliments on it too. Brandy and her crew do a great job there. You can call and set up an appointment at B. Nicole Salon and get your hair taken care of there. They have pedicures and manicures available also at B. Nicole Salon. They have all kinds of product for you also available at B. Nicole, and you want to stop on in there, and they have children's haircuts available too, and it's a great place to go if you just want to stop on in there and get taken care of. B. Nicole Salon in downtown Grinnell. Another fine sponsor is Saints Rest Coffee House in Grinnell. Stop on in and talk to our new mayor, Sam Cox. They not only have great mocha lattes and hot chocolates and all kinds of tasty drinks for you there too, but they have those monster cookies also. I just want to mention too that B. Nicole Salon and Saints Rest Coffee House provide trivia prizes for us every Sunday morning when we want to play Out and About with Jamie Grout podcast trivia. So check that out. Saints Rest Coffee House in downtown Grinnell. It's time for an Out and About with Jamie Grout podcast, and my interview guest is Melissa Strovers, who is Executive Director of the Poweshiek Economic Collaborative. And Melissa, tell us about your organization.
Yes, thanks, Jamie, for having me on the podcast today. So our organization is the Poweshiek Economic Development Collaborative. We are a nonprofit organization who serves Poweshiek County's economic development efforts. Some people may know us by our former name of POW I-80. Last spring, the spring of 2025, under the leadership of Dan Nealon, the organization changed its name to the Poweshiek Economic Development Collaborative. And at that time, I served as a board member for Poweshiek Economic Development Collaborative as part of the marketing committee. And the committee was really intentional about the name. I know it is a mouthful. Among friends, we do call it Poweshiek Development, but it was important for us to recognize the need for collaboration. And we felt that if we put it in our name, that it would always be front and foremost as we think about working together across Poweshiek County to support economic development efforts.
Well, tell us about some of those efforts and how they've been successful.
Yeah, so in July of this past year, I took over as the executive director. Dan Nealon was recruited away to another community, and the opportunity came up for me to step in as the executive director. Previously, I had served on the board for since it was reimagined a few years ago. And I was the board secretary and heavily involved in some of the rebranding and marketing efforts, as well as the strategic planning efforts that took place last year for Poweshiek Development. So as part of our strategic plan that Poweshiek Development put into place, we researched and interviewed surveyed over 100 businesses, and of those businesses, we had 50% respond, which we thought was a really good response rate for a strategic plan. And what we learned from those responses is that collaboration was key, and working together to support economic development development efforts across the county was a priority for those businesses that were surveyed, hence the name Poweshiek Economic Development Collaborative. And we've used that strategic plan to guide our work this year. This fall, we launched 6 strategic workforce groups in 6 areas. And I can tell you those areas.
Yes, I'd like to know about
Okay.
those.
So the 6 areas that were identified out of the strategic plan were site development, housing, workforce, tourism, entrepreneurs and small business, large business industry, and manufacturing, as well as tourism. And we launched those work groups using what's called collective impact, which is a framework for doing collaborative work, primarily in like the social innovation field. And we took that model and now are using that with our economic development efforts. And so what that means, Jamie, is that there are 6 different groups who have, each group has a co-chair of our board member and then a chair from someone from across the community, all volunteer, and then there are volunteers comprised for each of those work groups made up of community leaders throughout the county. Each of those group then was tasked with coming up with up to three priorities that were actionable deliverables for each of those work groups. So those work groups now have been working hard the last 10 months. We started in the fall or so, 8 or 9 months actually. And they've identified projects and are making progress in those areas, which is really exciting when you think about it, because some of the people on the work groups, most of the people maybe didn't know each other before starting on this work, and so it's been really exciting to see those groups in action and some of the really cool things that they're working on to support economic development across the county.
Well, tell us how they're making progress on that.
Yeah, so most of the groups meet monthly, and they started out by identifying goals and projects, and so they have continued to meet to work towards those goals. And some of the groups are in the process of developing surveys to get more information about their specific work groups. Other are putting plans in place for different kinds of projects, and so we're really excited to see where they're going and where they're headed.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, Poweshiek County has a lot to offer in terms of new businesses. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that, Melissa.
Yeah, one new business that I'm really excited about is a downtown business in Grinnell that will be hosting their grand opening this Saturday. It's called Prairie Thrift. It's located at 914 Main Street, and Prairie Thrift is a new nonprofit organization in downtown Grinnell that was really born out of the Iowa Economic Development's downtown assessment that was conducted last year that identified the need for additional enhancements that were identified through some surveys done for downtown Grinnell. And so whether it be like a beautification or an alleyscape project. And so Prairie Thrift's mission is to help with those projects. So it's a nonprofit organization with net proceeds going back into help projects like beautification, streetscapes, those kinds of things.
Well, that is really neat because I was told about Prairie Thrift, and I plan on doing a podcast with them later on this summer. So thrifting is a big deal. In fact, in Newton, there's like 3 thrift stores now. And when you can find a nonprofit to give back to the community, that is fantastic. So congratulations on that. Maybe you could tell us some more about economic development in Poweshiek County, and maybe if you can spill the beans and tell me some other projects that you have coming up or some things that have happened in the past.
Yeah, so I think as you mentioned before we came on the podcast, Poweshiek Development hosted their annual meeting. Every year we host an annual meeting where our shareholders come together and vote on the slate of directors, and it's a great celebration. One of the things that I really enjoyed during my time here with Poweshiek Development is getting around the county and getting out into the communities and meeting the community leaders and working with them to identify priorities. So in the community of Brooklyn and Montezuma. They also did, in partnership with Poweshiek Development, downtown assessments that were conducted by IEDA last year. And so working with those communities to identify what the priorities are and help to support them by connecting resources. So as an example of that, Region 6, Marty Wymore and Julie Winter out of Marshalltown have access to a number of different grant tools and opportunities, and helping connect them, Region 6, to the various communities and the various projects to move those forward.
Now, when you have people come to Grinnell or to Poweshiek County who are maybe looking to have a business here or a manufacturing company of some kind, what are some of the selling points you tell them about Poweshiek County and Grinnell?
Yeah, that is a great question. We have a lot of selling points here in Poweshiek County. Across our county, we have many very unique communities who have their own personalities and that have easy access to 80. I think that is one of our biggest selling points, is that we are centrally located, right smack dab between Des Moines and Iowa City, with easy access off I-80. So you basically have access to both the Des Moines Metro, which is less than an hour away, and to Iowa City, and also the airport. The airport to the east, as well as, if you think about where we're located in Poweshiek County, we're, again, smack dab into the largest universities here in the state, with University of Iowa, as you know, being to the east, and then with Iowa State being to the northwest, as well as being home to Grinnell College, the premier liberal arts college, and a wonderful community partner, and we work closely with them on community development efforts. And in fact, Jamie, I spent the last 4 years of my career working at Grinnell College in the Office of Community Partnerships, Planning, and Research, where I was the Director of Community Development.
Do you have a website that people can check out, or a Facebook page?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to our website at www.poweshiek.com. Development.com. So again, www.poweshiekdevelopment.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Mm-hmm. You have people setting up priorities and things like that. What would you like to see as goals here in the next few years for Poweshiek development?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think in terms of goals, people that know me know that I have a very collaborative spirit, and I want to be proactive in really recruiting in marketing our local area. And we continue to build the foundation in order to be able to do that. So I'd like to make sure that Poweshiek County is identified as one of the premier counties in Iowa. Which is a big goal, a lofty goal, and we've got a lot of work to do, but I'm confident in the partners that I have working across the county that we can start to work towards that, whether it be business recruitment. And also, it's important that we are supporting our local business here. I do what's called a BRE visit to businesses, where I go out and just talk with them about how things are going, and then how can we as Poweshiek Development support them.
Speaking of marketing, how do you reach out to some of these companies that are maybe looking to locate in Grinnell or Poweshiek County?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to have strong partnerships, right? Whether that's working with the Greater Des Moines Partnership, or working with Alliant Energy, or working with the Iowa Economic Development Authority, to know that, we are interested and open for business here in Poweshiek County. So making sure that we are known, that I get out and about. I do a good bit of traveling around the state to make those connections.
Okay, so you're on the road a lot, huh?
I am on the road somewhat, yes.
Okay, looking for those places.
Yes.
So there are a lot of selling points here in Poweshiek County, and you're always looking for businesses to come here. Do you have enough of a labor force around here to be able to supply to companies that want to bring manufacturing to Poweshiek County?
Yeah, I think workforce is something that is discussed across the state in terms of, do we have the right workforce? So it's not just about the available workforce, but it's also about the right workforce. So I work closely with the Iowa Workforce Development on making sure that we have workforce needs. And so before you can determine if there's a need or not, you have to understand what what the business needs and the needs are. And so, workforce attraction continues to be a topic of conversation across the state of Iowa, as is housing, as is childcare, as is so many things that we're working toward, because it's not just one area that affects economic development. There are many areas in terms of quality of life, because if you don't have quality of life, it's very difficult to recruit and retain people in your community. So it's really comprehensive and not just one individual piece that helps to support and retain our workforce.
So are you looking for people to help out with Poweshiek economic development and join your task force? Because it seems like you have a lot of people involved pitching in to try to figure out what to do and how to plan things out, and like you say, priorities, and working together in a collaborative effort.
Yeah, so what I would say to that is we are in the process of wrapping up year one. If people are interested in learning more about the work groups, they can always reach out to me. You can email me at director@poweshiekdevelopment.com to learn more about the work groups, and those will begin again potentially in the fall. But happy to field questions if people are looking to start a business. Would be happy to talk to them. I talk to people on a regular basis who are interested in starting businesses here in Grinnell, whether it be a startup business or a business maybe you're transitioning from your home to a brick and mortar, or you just have an idea and want to run that idea by someone. One of our roles is to help be a connector, right? A connector of resources. And so if you're interested in starting a business, I would highly encourage you to contact me, and I can help connect you with a variety of different kinds of resources across the state.
And how can people contact you, Melissa?
Yes, you can contact me by email at director@poweshiekdevelopment.com, or you can call me on my phone at 641-260-1625.
Melissa, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Jamie.
That's Melissa Strovers of Poweshiek Economic Collaborative. I always having trouble with that. But thank you so much for joining me today and making time out of your busy schedule for talking about all the benefits of having a business or manufacturing in Poweshiek County. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of Out and About with Jamie Grout. Until next time, Grout is out. See ya.